Before the Testaments begins, we need to go back to the ending of The Handmaid's Tale, because where that story leaves off is exactly what shapes everything that comes next. By the time we reach the final episodes, Gilead isn't just a place anymore. It's a system that has reshaped people, relationships, and entire identities. And what makes the ending so important? It's who makes certain choices, who breaks, who adapts, and who refuses to. So I'm going to walk you through everything from Season 5, Episode 9, through the end of the Season 6 show finale. Not just the major events, but the moments that actually define where each character ends up, and what kind of world is left behind when it's over. Welcome to Screen Coven. We've been expecting you. We start with the American rescue mission. The goal is to get the girls at the wife's school in Colorado Springs in Gilead, and Hannah is one of them. June and Luke are in Canada with Mark and the other Americans to see the mission through. As the jets enter the Gilead airspace, they are immediately shot down. The mission fails before it can even begin, and there are no survivors. Gilead knew they were coming. At the same time, we see what's happening inside the wife's school in Colorado Springs. We see Hannah in her bunk with a beautiful floral drawing, and she writes her name, Hannah, on it. That moment matters because in Gilead, she is Agnes, but she still remembers who she is and is actively holding on to it. During this same stretch, Serena is still being forced to live with the Wheelers. It becomes clear that they are trying to take control of her son, and she is not okay with it. While attending a new Bethlehem-related event, she takes an opportunity to escape. She takes Noah and runs. She only gets away because a woman stops and helps her. After the failed rescue mission, June calls Lawrence. She is furious and confronts him directly about what happened. Lawrence tells her that he is sorry, but he could not allow the mission to succeed. He says he could not let her take Gilead's children, even though those children were taken from their families in the first place. He then offers her a place in New Bethlehem. He explains that it would be powerful for her to be there as a symbol, that it would show the world that Gilead is changing and that people should consider working with them. June refuses and shuts the idea down immediately. After this, June meets with Nick. The first thing that Nick says to her is that he wishes she would have taken Lawrence's deal. That immediately sets the tone of the conversation. June pushes back, and they argue about Gilead and what it is becoming. Nick tries to defend the idea that things are changing under Lawrence and through New Bethlehem. During this conversation, June learns that Rose is pregnant. That changes this dynamic completely, because now Nick is not just surviving Gilead. He is actively building a future inside of it. They do not come to an agreement. Before they separate, June tells Nick that he needs to set an example for his children. As Lawrence gains more power, he is told that he needs to take a wife in order to fit Gilead's expectations. He is matched with Naomi, who of course was married to Warren Putnam and Lawrence had him killed. She agrees to the marriage. Because Naomi is Charlotte's adoptive mother, Charlotte is now, of course, a part of that household. Aunt Lydia convinces Naomi to give Janine a chance to be their handmaid. Of course, Janine is thrilled to be close to Charlotte, but she does not accept the situation quietly. It doesn't take long before she pushes back and mouths off to Naomi. Naomi throws her out, and solely as a way to keep her alive, Lawrence then has Janine sent to Jezebels. June attends a vigil, and there is an act of violence directed towards her and others there. The next day, June is outside of her house speaking with Mark. After he leaves, she remains outside, and a truck drives toward her at full speed. It hits her, and then runs over her again. Luke sees what happens, runs outside, pulls the driver out of the truck, and beats him. The man dies from the injuries. Because of this, Luke becomes wanted by the authorities. June and Luke are told they need to leave Canada. Mark tells them to go to the train that is transporting refugees. They take Nicole with them. At the train station, the police are there looking for Luke. He knows he is not safe, and that June and Nicole are not safe with him. He turns himself into the police so that June and Nicole can leave. And we ended Season 5 with a bittersweet surprise. On the train, June sees Serena. When we start Season 6, we pick up from this moment. At first, June and Serena keep their distance, but somewhat help each other with their children. Of course, Serena has Noah and June has Nicole. Eventually, someone recognizes Serena as Mrs. Waterford, and this starts utter chaos. The people on the train begin turning against her and moving toward her aggressively. June narrowly helps Serena and Noah escape by getting them to an outside part of the train, and June quite literally pushes Serena and Noah off the train. Next, June arrives in Alaska at a refugee camp. While she is there, she is reunited with her mother, Holly, who she previously believed was dead, after once seeing a picture of Holly in the colonies. Okay, let's back up and freeze for just a moment. So we talked about that June was hit and ran over by the truck, and Luke beat the man who later died of his injuries. And then Luke was wanted by authorities, turned himself in. June and Nicole continued to Alaska. After June was hit, there was a moment where she was unconscious in the hospital. And during that time, Nick found out what happened and with Mark's help went to go visit June in the hospital. Of course, June was unconscious, so she never knew that he was there. No one ever told her. Now, the only reason that Mark even allowed Nick to go do this is because he forced Nick to agree to act as a spy for the American government. During that day that Nick is gone, Nick's father-in-law, Commander Wharton, was agitated that Nick was missing. At one point, Lawrence makes an excuse to him that he had sent Nick on another mission. And this conversation took place during a commander's meetup at Lawrence's house. After some time passes, Nick finally arrives, and he comes in with a bang. He immediately runs up to Lawrence and punches him. He is then arrested and placed in a holding cell. During this time that he's there, Rose visits him and confronts him about his feelings for June. She basically explains to him that she's tired of it, it needs to end, and she doesn't want to be in this marriage anymore if it's not going to end. Nick was only being temporarily held. It's unclear exactly if he was going to be let out no matter what, or if Rose's father, Commander Wharton, let him out. Because when Nick arrives back home, Commander Wharton is there to greet him, and he makes one of several speeches that makes it really clear to Nick that his loyalties need to be with Rose and their unborn child. Next, Mayday creates a new plan to target the commanders, starting with Jezebels. Moira volunteers to go in and assess the situation and warn the women there about what's to come. June insists on going with her. Inside Jezebels, they find Janine. She gives them letters written by the women there, letters meant for their families, explaining what has happened to them and expressing hope of getting out. A guard takes the letters and attempts to assault Moira. June and Moira kill the guard. However, the letters are locked in a safe, and they are forced to leave them behind. They clean up the scene and escape. June then asks Nick to go in and retrieve the letters so they cannot be used against the women. He agrees. Unfortunately for him, Commander Wharton finds out that Nick went to Jezebel's and demands an explanation. To protect himself, Nick ruins everything. He reveals Mayday's plan to attack the commanders at Jezebel's. June later learns this while hiding in Serena's house. When Wharton comes over to Serena's, all excited to tell her what happened, what he just learned, and expresses such great pride in his son-in-law Nick for exposing the plot. After Nick gives up Mayday's plan, everything escalates quickly. Commander Wharton responds immediately, and his reaction is not measured. It's a message. He has all of the women at Jezebel's killed. There is no investigation, no hesitation. It is done to eliminate risk and make it clear what happens when there is even the possibility of resistance. Janine is the only one who was not killed. Instead, she is taken and later reassigned. We eventually learn that she becomes Commander Bell's handmaid, obviously because of his deep obsession with her. Around this same time, Serena's situation shifts again. After escaping the train, she ends up briefly with a religious group, which feels oddly like another cult. Commander Wharton, who has always had kind of a schoolboy crush on Serena, suggests to Lawrence that Serena should have a role in New Bethlehem, that seeing a woman have a voice, a woman who has brought a child into this world, is exactly what Gilead and New Bethlehem need for this next chapter. So Lawrence has the eyes find Serena, and then he eventually goes to her and offers her a role in New Bethlehem. He wants her and her son to be the public image of it, something presentable, something controlled, something that can be used to show the outside world that Gilead is evolving. Of course, Serena agrees. From there, her relationship with Commander Wharton flourishes, and it leads directly to the next major event. At this point, Mayday knows they have limited options left. They put together one final plan, and it centers around Serena's wedding to Commander Wharton. The goal is simple: take out as many commanders as possible in one night. Our beloved Rita plays a key role in this. She is able to lace the wedding cake with a sedative that will take effect shortly after the reception. The idea is that once the commanders and their wives are incapacitated, the handmaids and Marthas will act. At the same time, there is another issue happening at the Red Center. Aunt Lydia becomes aware that something is happening, and of course she intervenes. She doesn't allow the handmaids to leave. Lydia insists that she has seen June earlier in the night. Where is she? She demands. Finally, June reveals herself, and June and Janine both try to speak with Aunt Lydia to talk some sense into her and explain that this is their moment and try to convince her that couldn't she ever believe in a God that allowed her to stand up to these terrible men and demand better for these women. And this is one of the very few moments where Lydia's internal conflict actually leads to action. She ultimately allows the girls to go, and this directly enables what happens next. Once the sedative takes effect, the plan moves forward. June finds Commander Bell and kills him. It is there that she finds Janine and is able to get her free. Also at this time, Serena and Commander Wharton get back to their home. What starts as a lovely newlywed evening turns into tragedy, into a nightmare, when Serena finds out what Wharton has in store for them, a handmaid. Serena is pissed. She tries to tell the handmaid to leave, and then she tries to leave herself. Wharton attempts to stop her, but then finally lets her and Noah go. She leaves to Commander Lawrence's house for safety. At the same time, the other handmaids carry out coordinated attacks against their commanders and their wives. This is one of the first moments in the series where the power dynamic is directly reversed at this scale. Afterward, the handmaids regroup and prepare to leave. They don't get very far before they're caught. June is forced to give herself up. She and the others involved, handmaids, Marthas, aunts who assisted, they are all taken into custody. They are publicly lined up and prepared for execution. This is meant to be a display. Aunt Lydia is there, also on the line for her actions of letting the handmaids go. She finally calls the commanders and other men what they are. Not righteous, not justified, but corrupt. She openly challenges the system she spent years enforcing. Finally, we see her breaking point. As June is about to be executed, she delivers one final line, the phrase that has followed her throughout the series. Don't let the bastards grind you down. Before the execution is carried out, Mayday attacks. The entire situation breaks apart. June is freed. The other women are freed. Luke, Moira, and Rita are all a part of the operation. At the same time, American forces begin a coordinated strike. Jets move in and begin targeting Gilead-controlled areas. This is not symbolic. It is active military reclamation. Boston is taken back. Parts of the East Coast begin to fall out of Gilead's control. This marks a turning point. Gilead is no longer expanding. It is losing ground. It's breaking. Despite everything, some commanders survive. Mayday identifies one final opportunity. A group of high-ranking commanders will be traveling together by plane to DC. Serena is the one who provides this information to June. And with Lawrence's help, a plan is created to eliminate them all at once. When the time comes, Lawrence arrives, but the situation shifts. He doesn't get out in time. He is seen by the other commanders and is forced to board the plane. There is no way for him to exit now without exposing himself. June watches Lawrence board the plane from afar, and at the last moment, the unthinkable happens. Nick arrives and boards the plane as well. June is broken at this point, but she knows she can't stop it from happening. The plane takes off, and shortly after, it explodes. There are no survivors. This removes a significant portion of Gilead's leadership in a single moment. Now, with so many commanders gone, Gilead does not immediately collapse, but it becomes unstable. Leadership positions begin to be filled by others from different regions, and this includes figures like Agnes's adoptive father, who is brought into a more central position of power. The structure remains, but it is weakened. Later, after everything, June does not know what happened to Janine. We see a scene where June and Mark are at the new border with Gilead, and someone just gets dropped off. We see it's Janine. What is already an amazing reunion is made even better by what happens next. Aunt Lydia and Naomi are there with Charlotte, and Naomi gives Charlotte back to Janine. For the first time, Janine and her daughter Charlotte are both free and together. By the end, Boston and other areas of the region are under American control. Serena and Noah are sent to a refugee camp, and Mark promises to find her. And we even get an appearance from Emily, who tells June that she's been living as a Martha for the last 7 months, while undercover as Mayday in Gilead. June and Luke are reunited, but their focus has not changed. Hannah is still in Gilead. Gilead still exists. They make the decision to keep fighting. They leave Nicole with Holly in Boston to keep fighting with the resistance. That is where the story leaves them. And not long after this is exactly where the Testaments begins. Gilead is weakened, but still standing. The system is unstable, but not gone. And the next generation, the ones who grew up inside of it, are now the ones who will determine what happens next. As I'm wrapping this video up, we are just an hour away from the 3-episode premiere of The Testaments. Thank you so much for watching my video on The Testaments so far. I can't wait to keep making these videos as the series begins. Please make sure to like and subscribe and stay tuned for my breakdown of the first 3 premiere episodes. See you next time.